Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're zeroing in on the latest twists and turns in the U.S.-China trade situation.
Yeah, there's been some interesting noise from both sides recently.
Exactly, and our goal here is really to cut through the headlines a bit. Are we seeing a genuine shift, and what could that actually mean for, well, the global economy?
We're looking at President Trump's recent comments on tariffs potentially coming down. Also, what Treasury Secretary Bessent said about the whole thing being maybe unsustainable.
Right.
And then, of course, how China's reacting and what they seem to want before uh, talks really get going again. It's all pretty fluid.
Okay, let's jump right into that Trump tariff talk then. He said tariffs on Chinese goods could come down substantially. That's the quote.
Substantially.
Though he did add, not cancel completely. He even mentioned that old 145% figure, saying it was, quote, too high, needs adjustment.
Yeah, quite a change in tone compared to some of the earlier rhetoric, isn't it?
Definitely. What do you think might be behind that shift? Is it just talk or something more?
Well, it's hard to say definitively, but one possibility is a growing recognition that maybe these super high tariffs, they might be hurting the U.S. economy too, or perhaps not achieving the desired results with China.
Could be domestic pressure, specific industries feeling the pinch.
Could be. Or just a realization that strategically, a different approach might be needed now. It's complex.
And then you have Treasury Secretary Bessent adding his voice. He called the trade war unsustainable. That's a strong word.
Very strong. And he also expressed hope for some kind of near-term agreement, something to rebalance trade relations. It sounds like maybe there's a push from within the administration to de-escalate things.
Unsustainable really points towards worries about the bigger economic picture, right? Like growth slowdowns, maybe inflation.
Exactly. The uncertainty alone is a drag. Businesses hate uncertainty. So Bessent's comments, his sort of optimism, maybe signal a desire to calm things down, mitigate those risks.
And interestingly, the market seemed to, well, pick up on this optimism. We saw U.S. stocks react positively, and reports mentioned positive dynamics in Asian markets, too.
Yeah, markets often react well to signs of reduced tension. They crave stability, predictability. So investors probably interpreted these statements as, a potential step away from the brink. Less uncertainty is generally good news for them.
But looking across the Pacific, China's response, it sounds a bit more cautious, maybe.
Measured, I'd say. Yeah.
They're reportedly talking about needing an end to pressure and coercion, offering cooperation, but based on equality and mutual respect.
Right. They don't sound like they're just jumping back in immediately. There are conditions.
So what does that equality and mutual respect point really signal?
Well, it's pretty consistent with their position throughout this whole thing, really. They're saying any talks need to happen on a level playing field, no perceived threats, no negotiating under duress.
And it's worth just quickly remembering the backdrop here. We've had these huge record tariffs.
Huge disruption.
Supply chain disruptions,
Yeah.
and constant fears of a global recession swirling around this whole dispute.
Absolutely. The stakes are incredibly high. Businesses have had to scramble. Costs have gone up in places. Investment decisions get delayed. It's had real-world effects.
So while Trump's suggesting, reach him to start negotiations, an invitation, sort of.
It sounds like China's saying, hold on, we want to see a number of steps first. They want actions, not just words, it seems.
Exactly. That suggests they're looking for something concrete, some tangible evidence that U.S. policy is actually shifting, not just the rhetoric softening for a moment. What those specific steps are, well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Okay, so just to quickly recap for everyone listening, we've got these potential signals, maybe a softening, from the U.S. side on tariffs, possibly driven by economic realities.
Right. And Bessent adding weight to that idea of unsustainability.
Markets reacted positively, hoping for cooler heads to prevail. But China remains cautious, basically saying, show us something real first. They want that equitable footing before serious talks resume.
So the key thing now is just to watch, right? Watch for actual policy changes, diplomatic moves, anything that might bridge that gap.
Precisely. It's a situation that requires close monitoring.
And understanding these dynamics, well, it's crucial for you listening. These kinds of shifts, or even just the potential for shifts, can ripple out and affect businesses, investments, the whole economic climate.
Absolutely. Staying informed helps you navigate what might be coming down the track in the global economy.
So here's something to chew on as we wrap up. China wants these specific steps. What kind of concrete actions beyond just tweaking tariff percentages do you think the U.S. could realistically take that would genuinely signal a policy shift and convince Beijing to come back to the table for, truly productive talks?
Definitely something to ponder.
A very pertinent question for the coming weeks and months.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.